Hey everyone, it's Sensei Victoria Whitfield here, your journey partner in business, welcoming you back to episode 79 of the Journeypreneur Podcast. This is your source for channeled holistic stress management techniques, guidance, inspiration, and motivation to stay on your path to rapid financial ascension and massive impact as a conscious entrepreneur. So the title of this podcast episode is Creating Energy. So right now I am driving in the rain back from, so if you hear my windshield wipers going in the background, check them out. Yeah. I'm driving in the rain back from speaking at AT&T Corporate. I've been speaking there every year, like maybe about 1 to 2 times a year for 6 years now. And it's so good to get to come back and just continue to give love and inspiration and re-inspire people around caring for themselves while at work. Holistic stress management, self-care, confidence, loving themselves. This is a really beautiful presentation that I get to give regularly, and I'm not brought in by HR, by the way. Someone asked me that the other day, like, how do you speak at AT&T? I'm actually brought in by the employees. Like, they have their own employee association. It's not HR. There's a employee association that keeps bringing me back year after year after year, and it's really cool just to maintain the relationship and share that. I had this experience during my presentation that my laptop died. It was so crazy. The laptop just went dead, decided to die in the middle of the presentation. And it was the same presentation that I give every year, that I've been doing it over and over and over again for 6 years now. And it was, the space was sold out. It was a completely full house. There were even employees who had gone out of their way to actually drive in from other locations in the state of New Jersey to come and see me. So the one woman, she came up afterward when she was purchasing a book from me. She's like, I came all the way from Middletown and there was so much traffic. I'm sorry I was late, but I was driving for over an hour, but I wanted to make sure that I was here to get to see you. And it was amazing to share that with her. And it was so perfectly imperfect that my laptop died right in the middle of the presentation. So I'm, giving my slides on my laptop, and I bring 2 laptops and like multiple backups. But at the point in the presentation that it died, it was where I was talking about the importance of how powerful it is to breathe deeply and how to breathe deeply, like breathing deeper into your pelvis. The lowermost quadrant of your lungs has the most sensitive oxygen receptors. So for you to really oxygenate your body and create energy, you've got to breathe and breathe deeply. And then the laptop died, and so I was just started to giggle. I looked at them like, all right, so now we get to turn this into a workshop. Let's go. And so at first, because it was lecture style, people are listening in and they're like, do-do-do, their eyes are starting to glaze over a little bit, they're nodding or, kind of falling asleep. But with the workshop, I got to listen to what my spirit guides suggested and go straight into that rather than relying on the presentation. So this was so cool. We workshopped doing Reiki as a group, which was amazing. So fabulous. And there were a handful of people in the crowd, maybe about 50 people-ish in the space, that already had heard of Reiki or maybe tried it out. There was a handful, maybe about 5 or 7, so around 10% of the room was aware of this wonderful energy healing modality. And so most of the room had never had an experience of their own natural energy. And rather than proceeding with the rest of the lecture where I'm like, okay, and these are studies that have shown the importance of, meditating at work or taking breaks or going through all these other tactical things. I was like, all right, let's do this right now. So play with me. And I had everyone, rubbing their hands together vigorously to inspire the circulation in their hands, and then separating their hands at about an inch or a centimeter apart to feel that magnetism or tingling between their hands. And we made that grow and grow and grow, and went into a meditation where we brought this natural ambient energy into our bodies. So each person, I asked them to intuitively place it wherever their body is asking for some extra energy. And then we had the Q&A and sharing session. This was so cool. I love this the most because sure, I like what I do and I know what I'm talking about, but the coolest thing is to get to see people discovering and awakening to their own energy, or discovering and awakening to their own empowerment, like right before your eyes, and hearing them tell the story of it. And a gentleman shared how much more awake he felt suddenly when he's like, I've never done anything like this before, but my hands, he was describing, he's like, my hands, they felt tingly and kind of heavy, and I brought them to my eyes and did like the eye thing, and I don't know, I just wanted to bring my hands to my eyes after we did the tingly energy thing, and all of a sudden I felt lighter and I felt more awake. And I'm like, oh really? It's so cool to get to witness him having that experience. And then another woman described what she felt like when she walked into the room. Was she felt tense, kind of tight in her body, like she had a bit of a headache, she felt tense. And after doing the little bit of Reiki that technique of waking up the ambient energy around your hands and just bringing it in, she said, I feel so much. She said, I feel fresh, like I am brighter, or I'm like I have a little bit more energy. And this is so good because this talk before used to be a lot more about productivity. Workplace productivity, guys. Everyone, I'm not the best productivity expert. No, I've had people on this podcast who are much better at that than me. And what I got to receive from my laptop exploding was the opportunity to step more into where's my mastery? Literally, where's my mastery? And that is in energy work and energy management. I wish you could have been there to see their eyes light up. But what also happened was not only were the people one by one feeling better in their bodies, but they also started sharing more of their stories, sharing from the heart. Instead of just bringing that kind of corporate face, if you know what I'm talking about, that corporate face and, giving the right answer or the constructive answer to questions, started talking about how they want to have more energy to be around, to see their children, more energy to be at home gardening, or more energy to enjoy their lives outside of their job. One of the slides that I was able to show them before my laptop exploded was that how 1/3 of your adult life is spent in the office. Right, I was showing them statistics that I had collected from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics here in America, and it's 1/3 of the average American adult life, between 25 and 54, where you're really at work, is spent at work. And by the way, half of that, not half, 1/3 of that, you're already asleep. So half your waking life is spent at work. And what was really great about looking at that statistic was a gentleman raised his hand and said, I have a meditation practice, and I'm frustrated, Victoria, because I meditate diligently every single day, but when I'm here at work, like when the phone rings, or if, I'm looking at emails and something happens that's just a little bit awry, it's like all of that practice, the mountain of kind of goes nowhere, like it goes to kaput, like it just. And I asked him, I was like, well, sir, when do you meditate? Is it at the beginning and the end of the day? He said, yeah, when I wake up and, when I get home. Oh, okay. And that's why. Right? So there's that half your waking life that is not at work. And that's when you're doing all of the good stuff. But here at work, for some reason, you're feeling more stressed, more agitated, or the meditation practice is not sticking. How come you don't bring some of that meditative, well, as my friend Manatari Patterson would say, that meditative lifestyle to the workplace? The workplace. Well, why didn't we bring it here? And that inspired even more conversation. Creating energy. You really can. You don't have to reach, I'll put on me, I don't have to reach for a cup of coffee in order to create more energy for myself. I don't have to reach for a sweet in order to create energy for myself. When I am not conscious of the fact, when I, Victoria, am not conscious of the fact that I can create energy for myself without any caloric or drug or stimulant inspired input, right? In the form of coffee, pills, sweets, bars, and all this. When I am not conscious of that, that's when I reach for the coffee or for the energy, supplement or the et cetera, or the sweets. Looking at energy as if it's outside of me. But if I can remember, hey, wait a minute, I'm an energy worker. I'm an energy worker. This is something that I've been trained to do in depth. I can call it up out of nowhere. And we all can. We all can. In that room of 50 people proved it. I asked you, raise your hand. Are you a Reiki master? Right? And no one raised their hand, but there were a couple of people, well, I practice, like I'm a practitioner, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so the overwhelming majority, right, above 90% of the room has no formal energy training, but in about the space of 5 to 10 minutes of just bringing that ambient energy between the palms of their hands, just by virtue of rubbing them together and becoming aware of the fact that it's there, that tingling magnetism that energy has when you're holding it in your hands is very real. You could go ahead and try it as you're listening to the podcast right now, rubbing your hands vigorously together, separating them a very tiny distance, and feeling the tingling magnetism, especially if you try to pull them apart very gently. It intensifies that magnetism. It attracts the ambient energy there, and then you can bring that into your body. This is so revolutionary to be able to have the ability to create energy while at work. It made me think of you as a journeypreneur. What do you do to support your energy while you are at work? I'm not talking about your morning meditation practice like this guy was talking. I'm not talking about your evening, exercise routine or meditation practice. That's the same situation. That is lovely, and you are still a whole and spiritual human being while you are at work. And I got to have the honor of being a disruptor at AT&T, bringing in this wonderful consciousness of self-care and energetic awareness, energetic mindfulness into their office space. But that's because I was asked in to be a disruptor. How do you, let me turn it over to you as a listener, as a journeypreneur, how do you foster your energy throughout the day while you are at work? Do you? Right? Go ahead. If this is something that's been on your mind, if you've been struggling with your energy levels, not just physical energy, but also emotional energy, creative energy, right? Go ahead, head on over to victoriawhitfield.com/contact. Share your story with me. I want to hear it. And by the way, if this is your first podcast episode, welcome to the Journeypreneur Podcast. So good to have you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you are first to know when each podcast is released. And when you do, make sure you also leave a 5-star review. Put in the comments there. What about this episode or the story stood out the most to you? I would love to get to be able to reach more people thanks to your 5-star review. That's the purpose of that. So for those of you who have left your stories and your 5-star reviews, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your support, your affirmation, your celebration. It's another source of energy for me to keep on my path as well. And so that's it for today's podcast episode. Let's create some energy today. No need to go and eat it or wait for it by default. Nope, let's create it. And please remember, enjoy the journey. Do not lose your glow as you grow in life and business. And I'll see you in the next podcast episode. Bye for now.